This is about dealing with OBS and NDI in Linux and possible solutions to some problems. So as you can see, this is all you need to know, all you need to do. If you do everything in order and correctly, you'll be good to go. Unfortunately, that's not what I did, and that's probably not many other people do, so that's why some problems arise. So this is the regular OBS-Studio version. I don't know how to make NDI work in the Flatpak version. I found some files, copied over, but it didn't happen. Like, I didn't get the option. Maybe I needed to find and copy some more files or do something extra. I have no idea. Anyway, so in addition to all of this, I also had to get some additional packages, or these specific package versions, or actually it's one version, and it was not on the regular repositories, so I had to go a little bit out of my way. So I typed the package name in my browser search bar, and I got to another site, which is this one, and that's how I found the package version in question. I'm gonna try it again. What was it? libembed crypto 1, and the closest candidate I could find is the Ubuntu Universe repository. So I had to download these two Debian packages from there. Otherwise, everything was fine. You go to the OBS-Studio site, you click on download for Linux, you go through the regular steps. Then if you want NDI, you go ahead and find NDI, you double check for the minimum OBS-Studio version required, you go ahead and click download, and they don't have a repository for NDI yet, so you have to download another two Debian packages. So what I had to do is go through a bunch of hoops, and I decided to uninstall everything I had installed previously. So basically what was happening is, I think this was the version number that libembed crypto 1 could get the most to, and I needed 2.8, so that's the revelation I had when I typed in apt policy and the package name, and then it told me there isn't a higher candidate, like this is not the candidate, which tells me that there are two possibilities: either there is no version 2.8, or there is a version 2.8 but it's not in the available repositories that I have added and enabled. And that's how I found this extra site, which is basically like a collection of repositories. So these are the steps I did. I checked the software managers for OBS NDI. That's also something very interesting. Like by default, the OBS NDI plugin wasn't in the Linux Mint repository, but so you couldn't find it through a software manager. But if you had installed it, then you can go to the software manager and find it there, and you can install it from there. So here I'm basically going through the process of uninstalling everything. I uninstall OBS-Studio as well, and I'm even removing, like, I got the 32-bit version of this package upgraded, but I removed that as well, just making sure everything is nice and clean. And then it tells me, oh, this will be affected. So then I tell it, well, remove it. And then it tells me the following dependencies will be resolved, blah blah blah. I say yes, and then everything anew. I installed the needed package in question first, the 64-bit and the 32-bit versions. And then install the for Ubuntu version from the software manager, or simply sudo apt install OBS-Studio. Should be fine. It should now say that it's the latest version, which is currently 23.2.1 blah blah something bionic. And after that, which is the right version for my Linux Mint 19.1, after that I go ahead and install the two NDI packages to enable the plugin, basically first the libraries and then the actual plugin option, and then you should be able to see the option for NDI in OBS. Next, you might get black screen if you add an NDI source, and that may be because you need to enable a specific port through your firewall. So this is the command I used, netstat-atu, which lists a bunch of things, and by enabling and disabling my firewall, I was able to see which ports were established when disabled, and which and listening when the firewall was enabled. So what basically, you don't have to look for every single IP address and port. You have to find something that is your other PCs, the PC you're trying to connect to, its IP address, and a port that is probably of the type 59 something something, which is what X11 VNC uses. And then try it in OBS if it works, and if it does, allow the port in question in the firewall. If it doesn't, then probably the problem is somewhere else. All of this happens in the main computer client, the main computer or slash the client. And then this is for the desktop flickering thingy, OBS screen capture without suddenly showing parts of the desktop when it shouldn't. Yes, indeed. Desktop flickering on top of another window, which is on top of all the rest. So basically, you have a game, let's say, which you're playing, and you're trying to capture it with OBS. But OBS says, nope, I'm gonna show parts of your desktop on top of your game, and that's inconvenient. So these are the things I was looking for. Disable VBlank first here, and then in the Nvidia settings, but what really worked for me is this allow flipping. And like I've said here, flipping seems to be doing most of it, most if not all the work. So but for flipping mode, one person on the internet says enabling block transfer helps to eliminate visible draws which can make an application look sluggish or appear to flicker. Enabling page flipping, if available, also eliminates tearing, a splitting effect that occurs when drawing to the screen happens faster than the monitor's refresh rate. Well, for the most part, everything is fine. There is no tearing except on one of the browsers, on one of the monitors, and for specific sites, but only, or for some sites, but only when I'm specifically scrolling down really fast. If I'm watching a video or whatever, there is no tearing, there is no problem. But at the same time, turning off allow flipping, which I can, I guess, also show, disables this really awful effect that happens for some reason in OBS while capturing. So yeah, installing everything in the correct order and from the correct place is a great benefit, so that you run into a lot of problems. Also, sometimes some programs may need you to reinstall them a couple of times, simply uninstall and reinstall before they start working. I don't know why or how. Sometimes stuff happens and everything breaks. And now I would like to show you several clips which I recorded while doing that process on my second PC. So here I ran into some other problems. I'm trying to install OBS-Studio. I think I had installed it previously, but it didn't work. And here, yeah, it's giving me problems with this package. So I'm trying to remove it, then it says nope, something is wrong. I realize my mistake. I try to do this, then it says nope, you can't do that. You can only do it with an install command or a forbid version. And then I say, hey, how about you remove this? And here now it tells me it's also going to remove a bunch of other stuff which I may need. So I'm thinking, maybe I can save it. Maybe I don't have to delete everything, so I can keep this package. So I abort the mission, I read a bunch of stuff, and finally I'm trying to install OBS-Studio with apt-get. I don't like apt-get, and I kind of arrive at the same problem. So then I say, aren't there any other options? And we start with a bunch of options, and I'm not satisfied. I quit out, and then I basically give up and say, hey, remove everything, and a VOC player with that as well, because hey, why the heck not? Okay, and then I'm installing OBS-Studio. Everything works fine. I'm checking the OBS version. So good, the currently latest version. If you can see, VLC disappeared. Oh, and this is one good example of how XLMVNC likes to break the connection. Yep, I'm double checking, it's the same version. So good. It broke the connection again. Yep. That happens. It happens from time to time. Next, I'm installing NDI. Here I saw that it says reinstall, so I'm checking in the software manager if I can maybe find that package and uninstall it. Just to make it easy. Nope, can't find it. I give up. I'm basically saying, hey, I reinstall whatever. Let's see if it works. If not, then at least I know how to make OBS work, so I can fiddle with those packages later on. But thankfully, there weren't any problems. Install the under package. It's all good. I'm checking if it works in OBS. The connection drops. Per usual, I try to reconnect too fast. And hey, it's here. Yep, both of the options here. And then I'm reinstalling VLC player and nothing else interesting here to see. Okay, then I did some settings, and after I was done with my settings, I tried setting up my new OBS NDI connection, and this right here is what told me there is the connection between my two PCs, and not just through the VNC server connection, but through the NDI plugin. Just because I can see it recognize my other PC's name and NDI plugin connection name I gave it. And here I'm looking at the other options. I did not change anything. Everything is by default. Okay, a red dot appears, or a little red square, using transform and fit to screen, and what do you know, a black screen. So visually there is no connection, but then the NDI plugin tells me there is a connection, and that eventually led me to this idea to simply go in and turn off and turn on my firewall and check my connections. And this is what I highlight here. This is my server's IP address. So this is how I knew which line to look at. This is the computer which I'm trying to connect to, and this is the port which I'm trying to connect through. on my main / client PC, which is where I'm looking at this from. So this is when my firewall is disabled and everything is fine, and I can see that everything that is displayed on the main PC is also displayed on the secondary PC in OBS. So I look at the same port when the firewall is enabled, and what do you know, it's listening, but it's not allowed. So that's how I knew I should allow this port on my main PC's firewall. And that's basically it from this clip. And the last thing I want to show you is this visual flickering that happened. I thought it was something from the game, but then I found out it is not game related, and I did not see this on my main monitor. It's just what OBS is capturing and displaying for some reason. So I eventually found the solutions I showed you, and that's it. So until next time.